Good morning, watch fans. This is Big Jim with the Big Wrist, talking about watches and working on my continuing education series on terminology and watch terms that are either misunderstood or people just are too embarrassed to ask a question about. So last week we covered a whole bunch of interesting things, and I recommend this video right here to catch up if you haven't seen it before. I just talk about the most common terms that are misused, especially when it comes to measurements and stuff on the watch itself. So this time we're going to talk about some more real basic terms, and we're going to get a little bit more into some complicated things also. Should be interesting. So what I have here is just a variety of watches that sort of demonstrate what I'm talking about, and I will insert pictures for things that I don't have a watch on, because there are a lot of terms that there's just no way anybody with such a small collection as I could have as many complications and examples of what I'm going to talk about, unless you just happen to have an enormous collection, which I don't have anymore. So, mechanical and quartz, those are the basic terms on watches. And mechanical is a watch that has it has a mechanical movement that requires either a winding motion here at the stem to wind it up. You can just hear it. And that winds the spring. The big giant spring is in there. And that spring is slowly released by its gears and mechanisms to give it power. Pretty basic. A quartz watch, this is a basic quartz watch. It has a small battery that gives the entire motion of the watch its power. There's no winding motion. Some people consider quartz watches have a lack of soul. I'm not one of those people. I personally don't like. The only thing I like about quartz watches is the second hand typically ticks. And on most of them, it don't hit the indices. The ticks are, who knows where the ticks are? They're anywhere. As you can see on a mechanical watch, that second hand has a very pretty sweep. All right? I like the sweep. Or I don't want to see a second hand. This particular watch has a much faster beat rate. And you can see that sweep is very smooth, 28,800 beats per hour, very smooth sweep. This is 21,500 beats per hour, so still a good sweep, but not as perfectly smooth as this. And price doesn't indicate the speed at all. You can get a very expensive watch with 21,500 beats per second, or you can get a very, very cheap watch with 28,000 beats per second. Plenty of Chinese clone watches have the very inexpensive Chinese movements that sweep nicely, but they're not expensive watches. The price comes from the quality of the materials and the quality of the finishing, and of course the brand name has a lot to do with price. So we're looking at one of the most basic quartz watches in the world here, the Casio G-Shock. It's a real claim to fame, of course, as it's considered indestructible. Very tough to break one of these watches. They have a resin case, which is a type of impregnated plastic, hardened plastic. It's very nice. Many colors available. You can get, like this one is a titanium case. Again, a quartz watch. This is a quartz with a complication of solar. It has a little bit of a solar panel on there. It gives it, almost an indefinite battery. As long as it has light every 6 months or so for a few hours, it'll remain charged. So, very nice. So, the difference between mechanical and quartz really comes down to no battery and a battery. That's it. And the quartz refers to the quartz crystal in the watch. When you run power through it, it vibrates based on the shape of the crystal and the cut and the size and all that good stuff. It'll vibrate, and that can regulate the speed of the hands and the duration of the power reserve. So this is a really simple one. This is a $99 retail price watch. the Casio G-Shocks, it's as cheap as $50, and they're quartz on up to, you know, $1,700. You know, the difference is pretty significant, and they're really just a quartz watch. Material, finishing complications versus just very quick, easy to build, no hand finishing at all, and very much a mass-produced watch. Very nice watch. And then there's, of course, there's mechanical hybrid, which I don't happen to have one. Here's a picture of one. Mechanical hybrid watches, probably the Mecha Quartz is super common. Here's a picture of Mecha Quartz. And then also there is a spring drive, which is it's a mechanical watch. Here's a picture of a spring drive. The Seiko, the Grand Seiko spring drive. It's the pinnacle of a hybrid of the two, and what it does basically is it has a wind. You wind it up, and it's very much mechanical interior, but some of the power produced by the spring that you wind is diverted to an oscillator, which produces a small electricity, and it powers a quartz, and that vibration of the quartz regulates the overall accuracy of the watch, and giving it a hybrid. So its spring drive has a quartz regulator in it that allows the watch to be extremely accurate and have extremely long power reserve. So pretty cool. A lot of people love the spring drive. I'm ambivalent. You know, it's beautiful, gorgeous, interesting complication. I just have never found one I fall in love with. You know, honestly, I think it's just another really nice Seiko. And I have a really nice Seiko. I don't want another one, so I have, I'm good. So all this only works. Oh, I forgot about under mechanical. There's a couple of things under mechanical. There's hand wind, which essentially hand wind and automatic. Automatic has a rotor in the back that can move when you move, and that will wind the watch. Very, very cool. The hand wind ones, essentially, you don't have that, and you have to physically pop this every single day or every other day and physically give it a wind, and that winds up the spring. I have one hand wind somewhere around here. I don't know where it's at. It must be in the safe. They've been around a long time. The hand wind watches have been around a really long time. They're the original mechanical watch. So all these things, the hand wind and the mechanical, they all essentially wind a mainspring. The mainspring is the unsung hero of mechanical watches. And the mainspring is, the bigger the mainspring, the more power. It's just that simple. So you can make it thinner, you can make it stiffer, you can make it flatter, you can make it bigger. You can do a whole lot of things to make the spring have more power reserve. And the gears regulate how that power is metered out. So a 48-hour power reserve is fairly common. The longest power reserve I could find is a Hublot MP05 with a 50-day power reserve. Combination of very fine finishing on the gear teeth, reducing friction, a lot of jewels on all the friction points, and a very big spring gives this Hublot a 50-day power reserve. Pretty crazy. Terms that are fairly misrepresented. Chronometer versus chronograph. Chronometer, when you see that on the face of a watch, nope, I have a chronometer. It's in the other box. Do I have it right here? Yeah, here's one right here. Chronometer, it says it right there. It says superlative chronometer. I can get it in there. What that is it means it meets a certain specification set up by a group called COSC. And COSC is, let me get this zoomed in for you guys. See the word superlative chronometer? Well, chronometer is a certification by COSC. It means the watch must run -5 to +3 seconds per day, making it 99.994% accurate. Very, very accurate. Rolex takes it one step further, and they put the movement in the case and get it to within plus or minus 2 seconds. And they add the word superlative, so making it a unique Rolex certification. Very, very accurate watch. Very, very accurate watch. Not my most accurate watch. My Tudor Black Bay Heritage 41 is plus or minus 1 second, and it's not chronometer certified. Chronometer certified, not chronometer certified, but this is actually 1 second a day watch when it's fully wound and kept in, just everyday movement. But this is a constant 2 second watch. Very nice. And they have about the same power reserve, so they're really pretty equal. And then chronograph, which I don't have a chronograph, but I can kind of demonstrate it with this watch. A chronograph has, the standard stem right here for winding and time setting. And then it has 2 additional pushers here and here. And it can be additional, besides, it can be 1 or 2, and there can be 4. But 2 is the most common. And those pushers will start and stop the second hands, giving you an ability to time something very accurately. And that complication is called a chronograph. And there are a ton of additional complications with that. There'll be subdials. I'll put a picture up of subdials and whatnot. And you can start and stop the seconds. You can split time. You can time an egg. You can time a race. You can figure out distances using, if you know your constant speed. Chronographs are very, very accurate. And very, very useful. I don't have one because I just don't have one. I don't think I've ever owned a chronograph. Have I? So, chronometer is an accuracy rating, and chronograph is a complication that's similar to a stopwatch. Really, those are the basic terms. So, hope this has been interesting to you. Hope you've enjoyed my content. If you have, please like, subscribe, and tell a friend. And I will catch you on the next one.